Hey everyone, it's Dim and Kedge. Welcome back to another episode of Namaste Rich. I've definitely lost track of where we're at. I believe it's number 15. If I'm not mistaken, I probably am. Thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure being with you. We've both received a lot of comments from you guys, just letting us know that you're listening along and that you're getting value. And uh, furthermore, like even just quoting things that we've said or asking us about things that we've said. So just thank you for that. And yeah, really hope that you're enjoying. Uh, Kedge, how are you, man? How you doing today?
Yeah, doing all right, man. Lots going on. To be honest, rolling into this, I think I was just said it to you for 2 seconds. A little bit stressed out, but just with everything going on, happy to kind of touch on it as well. But overall doing good. Just some short-term stresses. But what about you, man?
Well, I've had quite a journey over the last couple of weeks, and so if everyone listening, I apologize for me coughing a little bit. Um, Exec summary in terms of the journey. So I was in Bali, and there's been a little bit of a delay between episodes, and this is why, you know, I was in Bali where I was living. I went back to Australia to run my retreat, which we've got some pretty amazing footage coming out of, and honestly, like the most important thing is the boys who are attending the retreat. So I run, for people who don't know, I run men's retreats, uh, helping men with their usually personal issues. Usually, when you help the boys with their personal issues, they and they you sort them out. They tend to do really well. They feel really great. They find themselves again. They find their old driven 20-year-old hungry, confident self again, clear self again, and then they walk out of that and usually build amazing businesses afterwards. Because the guys that I typically attract are entrepreneurial guys. So I went back to Australia to run that retreat. Man, I hated being there. I'm going to be honest, hated being in Australia for me, just because I think we can talk about that, but I just think at a maybe even spiritual level, like my time there is done now, and for now, and I've really created a home in Bali over the last year, which I'm super grateful for. And I would love to, and I think I just almost owe it to myself to just allow myself to be nurtured there over the next 4 years. So that's kind of like, um, yeah, being in Australia, like I think my body just hated it. And the cold was crazy. It was like 3 degrees in the morning. And I developed this cough. We can talk about it later, but um, after that retreat was done, uh, I started there was a 5 day training with John Demartini. I don't think even I told you, Kedge, properly about it, but it was called Decoding the Body's Messages. For everyone listening, John Demartini is someone that I've learned so much from. He's a human behavior expert, so he helps you understand why people are doing what they're doing, and you can take that and apply it to in business. You can become better at sales. You can just become better at influence. You can become better at leadership. You can become better at in your actual craft, whatever your craft is, because you're learning how to optimize how you show up in the world. You definitely 1,000,000% get a lot better in relationships because you are understanding human behavior at such a deep level. A lot of our frustrations come because we don't understand why people, why is our loved one acting this way, or why is our client acting this way? So if you can become an expert in that, I mean, it's going to serve you for the rest of your life. So that and the specific course that I did with him this time, which was 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day for 5 days. So it was pretty intense with a 1 hour break. Was called Decoding the Body's Messages. So in this one, he showed scientifically how so many physical ailments, the psychological root causes of the physical ailments that we are experiencing. So, for example, if you are having asthma, he talks about like what usually the psychological root cause of that is to help you address it at the root cause, and then you stop having asthma. So that's kind of like what my last 2 weeks was like. I'm back in Bali finally. Uh, and yeah, I also shared that because Kedge and I haven't caught up properly in a moment as well. So I wanted Kedge to have some context as to what I've been up to. Um, But Kedge, man, before we, and I'm happy to dive into some of the things that I learned, especially in that course, because it could be very interesting to people. Like, just for context, like I've had a few guys that have come to me with autoimmune conditions. One of them being Crohn's disease, and these boys, bless you, Kedge, and these boys who come to me, but in the cases I'm referring to, for more than 10 years, they've gone around the world, going to the very best doctors in the whole world to try and solve their Crohn's disease, and they were not able to resolve it in 10 plus years, and all this money spent. And within 4 weeks of our program, they pretty much resolved their Crohn's disease, which is supposed to be incurable. And actually, John Demartini put me to shame because he said that he kind of fixed it within like about 4 days. So, but basically with Crohn's disease, he was like, he showed how, it's an autoimmune condition where the body is attacking itself. Why is it attacking itself? Because at some level, we are carrying, the people who have Crohn's disease are usually carrying shame or guilt from the past about something, maybe an expectation they didn't live up to. In both the cases I'm referring to, the boys, their onset of Crohn's disease was after their HSC, when they didn't do so well in the HSC, and they had so much pressure from their parents and society and whatever to do well, and they held on to a lot of shame about, sadly, it's quite sad, like and basically it led to them hating themselves. And when you're hating yourself so much, like for so long and that intensely, your body, it's basically starting to attack itself. And how it works at a biological level. I know I'm going on a bit on a tangent, but hopefully this is interesting for people listening. Disease is a regression. It's a regressed adaptation to a perceived extreme environment. So what that means is that if you look at the evolution of a human, like over organisms, life forms, over the millennia, right? So if you look at us from like when we were like tiny little fish tadpoles to how we evolved into amphibians, into eventual mammals, etc., etc. So cancer or disease is regressing us back to the form that we were like when we were in an extreme environment somewhere in this evolutionary journey, because in the current day, when we're experiencing a psychological stressor, so we're experiencing a relationship breakdown or failing your HSC or whatever, if you have a polarized perception, effectively what that means is if you have a perception on what's happening around you that it's super bad and it's an extreme environment that you're in, even if you're not, but basically psychologically you're perceiving it that way and you're under extreme stress, then your body doesn't know the difference between that perceived extreme environment and the evolutionary time 100 million years ago when it was actually in that extreme environment. So then the disease or the illness actually is just trying to support your body to go back to a place where it could survive that extreme condition. And as a result, it regresses things in your body or attacks things in your body or shuts things down in your body, because it's like, these things are useless for us right now. We need to optimize for this state, because this is the state that actually helped us get through this time 100 million years ago. So I know, bless you, Kedge. Thank you for listening to that. I know you weren't. I don't think either of us were expecting me to share that, but just wanted to put some stuff on the table, man, for discussion.
Actually, super. No, I'm keen to ask you a question because it's super interesting. Because I actually have a condition called psoriasis as well, which is like, as in you can see little patches even here and stuff. I get it, little patches here and there, and that is also an autoimmune condition. So don't expect you to. We don't need to go into it fully today on this call, but I'm keen to unpack it with you as well, because I actually, as much as what you're saying there could go over a few people's heads, like actually it makes a lot of sense to me. But what I'm curious to ask is like, how do you put it into action? Like, go to the doctor, you get medication, blah, blah, blah. From a psychological point, how do you put it into action in an effective way? Is it easy to do, hard to do? Like, how do you figure out like what those root cause issues are, solve them? So you mentioned some of the boys regressed in 4 weeks. Like, how do you actually do that?
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
No, that's great. So with psoriasis, I we so over the last 5 days we went through basically every ailment under the sun. So I'm actually just quickly looking up like the actual answer for you, man. In my through my textbook, because everyone please excuse me, because I'm not trying to say I'm an expert on this.
Yeah.
I'm on my journey of learning this as well, but might as well, Kedge and I can speak offline about this if required. But basically, psoriasis, according to what I've come to learn, involves separation conflict concerning. Okay, so this is. I can talk about it if you want, or we can save it for offline because you can get emotional, Kedge.
Yeah, Matt. Give me the one liner or the short version of it. I got no issue talking about it, but also we don't need to take up the whole time talking about this, 'cause I assume it could go for a long
Sure,
time as well. So,
no problem. So for everyone listening, just for your context, like a really really handy little hack question to ask is, when did the psoriasis, or when did the condition start, for everyone listening? Because I can, if I can be super real, I can understand this is a super sensitive discussion, not just for Kedge, but even when I was learning it, I was like, man, like I was thinking about all the different people in my life that I knew who had different conditions, and I'm like, damn, this is sensitive stuff, Kedge, while you ponder on that question, like when did the psoriasis really start, I'll tell you what the psychosomatic factors are according to the research. uh, Involves separation conflict concerning mother, father, family, home, friends, or pets, try to please and being humiliated, or trying to please too many people and authorities. Now, I can speak on the solutions to amend that, but that, according to and this may not resonate with you, which is super fine, Ketch, because yours could be a bit, we're completely doing this unexpected right now. But did any of that seem to resonate with you when I said that?
like, it's hard to say, like, as in possibly, and at certain times definitely have, and I've definitely had, yeah, certain parts of that in the past, but I don't feel, the funny thing, I don't feel that way now. So yeah, maybe like, yeah, because I don't know the exact time, 7, 8, 10 years ago, and it was like it wasn't as big. Then it got worse, and then it went back and forth and things. But I don't think I feel that way now, and unless there's something that that's unaddressed. So,
Yes. I might be
but
able to
yeah,
say something useful here,
yeah, please.
because obviously, uh, there's a few different reasons that people can get psoriasis. So
Yeah,
with you, people pleasing, even for me, like knowing you, it's not like a huge ailment of yours. I would definitely
but
would say
it was, but not any. I wouldn't say any more. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
For me, when I think like of the conditions that are causing it, for me, what I think of, man, is like overwhelm. Because
Mm,
to me, like if I would just zoom out from Kedge for a second and just think about of other people I know who have helped with psoriasis, uh, in the cases that I've personally seen, man, when you have, if you think about it, if you have a lot of overthinking or anxiety, it's causing a lot of stress in the head. So
mm.
even if you look at it from a Chinese medicine lens, TCM lens, that's a lot of, or Vedic, not Vedic, what would you call it? The our Indian,
Yeah,
what's
Ayurvedic.
what's our Ayurvedic. So
Yeah, yeah,
from our Ayurvedic or a
yeah,
TCM perspective,
yeah,
the pitta kapha, which is
yeah,
basically the heat,
yeah,
the heat is high in the head,
mm,
because so that causes the hair to fall out. So why is the heat high in the head? Typically because of overwhelm or anxiety or overthinking.
mm,
So effectively what we're saying is it's high stress.
mm,
So um, we don't have to box you into any of this though, bro.
mm.
Does any of this seem to resonate with you?
No, and I've somewhat looked into it in the past, and that does resonate. Like, because I've done the Ayurvedic stuff, pitta, so I've got a hot, so trying to eat cooling foods, and various things that I've looked into to align. But I think so that part definitely. I think but for me, the hardest part in the day to day to apply it in the lives that we live to keep the overthinking, the overwhelm, the stress, or whatever, like just the nature of the lives that we live, I just find it, and the stages of life that we're at, um, I find it quite challenging to put that fully at rest.
Here's what typically why that shall we keep talking about it, or do you want to say something else, man?
No, that's yeah. No, that was the point I was trying to make. Yeah. So you can,
Cool.
yeah,
Okay.
please, yeah.
Okay. So, man, by the way, everyone listening, like Tej and I definitely did not plan this at all. Like we
Yeah.
haven't caught up in a minute. We just turned on the cameras and we're like, bro, let's just talk. We haven't even asked how Kej's week was, so I'm keen to ask. But, bro, so there's actually what's happening in life, which is like you have a business which can make anyone stressed. You've got a young one. You got a marriage. You've got everything that can completely justify being stressed for any reasonable person. So let's just call a spade and just say it's okay if you feel fucking stressed, right? Also, your personality type is not one that's very lazy. You are an ambitious guy. You have a high value on growth. Not everyone does. You do. So you are going to for sure have a proclivity to attract more stressful situations, right? Just out of compassion for you. And there's nothing wrong with that because that's beautiful and I'm similar. Um, so there's actually what's happening, man, and then there's our perception of what's happening. And now specifically speaking, there's our perception on people's expectations of us. And that potentially is a nice one to investigate for you, man, just as an idea. It's like thinking of whatever individuals in your life you feel some kind of obligation to, not in a dark way, just like, we all feel a sense of obligation to certain people, right? So, and then potentially looking at like, and so, some of these may be spiritual for all we know, right? I don't know. I'm just offering some data here. Like some could be physical people in your life, and then some could be people that could be your ancestors, and you feel a sense of obligation to, in a spiritual level and in an actual physical level. And then when you have those, it's thinking about, okay, who are these specific individuals, and am I putting them maybe too much on a pedestal where I'm putting myself down and therefore maybe overdoing things. And there's a beautiful way which I can show you later on how to just bring them into your heart as opposed to having them up on a pedestal. And I'm not saying that you're doing that because this is it. I feel it's kind of unfair to even have this discussion because we haven't really dug into actually your case. The one other angle I'd think about, my bro, is usually how this can happen is when this started, I think you said 8 years ago or so. Was it 8 years ago?
Yeah, I can't remember exactly when, but yeah, 8 to 10 years ago. But it was like wasn't that bad, and then it's like it disappeared, came back, got worse, got better, and then it's just been cyclical, and it's just kind of now it's been maintaining at a certain rate for the last 3 years or so. It goes up and down, but yeah.
Where it can come from, my bro, is at that time, 8 to 10 years ago, you could have had certain stressful events, which happens. And what typically happens, my dude, is during those events we develop a way of thinking or a frame around how we're going to adapt to those events.
Sure.
Which is nothing to blame you about. It's just you just fucking did what you had to do in the time you had with the knowledge you fucking had, right? But the thing is that you can think of that like an operating system or it's like a map on how you're going to handle those situations. But the thing is, if that map has when you yourself look at that map and we investigate it, you might find that fuck, like maybe this is not the best map that I created back then. You created it back then because you had to get through, which is super fine. But then what could be happening now is that now you have present day stresses coming up and you're still using the old map that you created. And the issue is that old map could have maybe overburden yourself with obligation or something like that. And so therefore, without realizing it, you're defaulting to doing that in the present day because you're still using that old map. And as a result, then the psoriasis happens. So that could be a lens to look at it with, man, which
Yeah, no, thanks, man. Like definitely will give it some thoughts. I was finally talking about it with a friend today as well, and I'm just like, man, it's just like one of those things, just frustrating. Like talking about a friend who went to the hospital, and I hate sitting at the doctors, hate sitting at hospitals. I went and got like a skin specialist thing the other day, and just to book it and organize it. I just hate it. Just can't be bothered. And so it was actually funny that you bring this up because I was literally talking about it today. So, yeah, definitely want to give it some time. Probably one of the next things I want to try and conquer. Like, I feel like I've conquered a few things, and I think it's time to actually now look after my health. So, keen to.
you
Yeah,
will,
keen to,
man.
yeah,
It doesn't have a chance against you. Of course you're going to, man.
yeah,
Of course
yeah,
you are. When you actually said, I think the only reason it hasn't happened yet is because you've been busy and doing other shit
yeah,
that was more pressing. But
yeah,
but bro, yeah, offline if you want.
yeah,
Oh, I reckon you and me can fucking
yeah.
smash it.
Awesome, awesome, man. But keen to unpack it with you. Obviously you touched on going back to Sydney, hating it. For better words, for better words, like if you look so happy back in your new motherland. Um, yeah, man. What's the bits
Bro,
and pieces? Yeah, I know we spoke briefly on the phone, but like, yeah, just do you want to share
man,
yeah,
okay, can I just quickly ask before I answer that question?
yeah,
Did you want to share about your week? Because you said it's been a really stressful day. Sometimes
yeah.
it helps to just let it off your chest if you want. Up to
Yeah,
you.
like to be honest, nothing overly exciting. Just honestly, just the day-to-day stresses of business. Actually, I could touch on a second. Trying to start a new business as well, which I'll touch on. And so I think it's just, to be honest, it's juggling a lot at the same time, and people's expectations. Obviously, with the buyers agency work, like just a lot of clients at the moment because of the SMSF thing, and there's time crunches, and then a lot of our work is like we're just as in not as in it's good work, love the work, but a lot of the time with the middleman, we're dealing with the broker, the solicitor, the agent, the client. So we're just like in the middle, just trying to piece it all together for the person. And so we're kind of just and there's a lot of that at the moment, and there's a lot of changes in the environment, changes in lending, changes in legal, just lots of things going on. So there's a lot of uncertainties, and even these specialists aren't, you know, I guess not delivering to the best of their ability, in my opinion, anyway. So then just wrestling back and forth, and then trying to keep the client at peace, and and just keep doing the best that we can. So there's that, along with the other things that are going on. So obviously that's what we're there to do, and we're here to navigate the tougher times, help our clients through it. But it's just been a bit of a more challenging period. So
Well, bro, I'm not saying this because we're on the show. I'm just saying this as a friend, bro.
yeah.
Like, don't stop being you, bro.
Mm.
Like
Mm.
you're only stressed about it because you care.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I
and
wouldn't.
honestly, it is, and it's like even like other people say like, bro, they're not putting the effort in. Why are you stressing? I'm like, I don't know, because I feel like I got an obligation to these people. They're committed, they're working with us, whatever. So like, I feel obligated to them. So, and they're like, oh, if they're not putting the effort in, or they're not doing this, or they're not that, like, why do you care so much? I'm like, it's just, mate, it's just, I don't know.
Well, it's just your standard. It's just your
Yeah,
standard,
yeah.
man,
So
and it shouldn't change. It's
yeah,
good.
but then I might as well touch on it as well. We'll come back to the thing in a second. But yeah, like launching, so opening up a couple of like like a franchise. It's called Gym, which is spelled JIM. So joy in movement. So it's actually infrared. It's a workout in an infrared heated environment. So the full story. What's
Wow,
so the full
dude, what?
yeah. The full story is summarized version is I started going, yeah, look it up, but it's called Joy in Movement. So I started going to one, so near where I live. So I'm in Wollongong at the moment, in a suburb called Bellambi. So they opened one up 6 to 9 months ago or something like that. So I was one of the first members there. And yeah, so it's pretty much 30-minute workouts in an infrared environment. And it's like no mirrors, no flex culture, no egos. Like go in and out, 30-minute workout. So in that time, I guess it's a more effective workout because you're doing it in that environment. And I was there doing it, and I'm like, man, this is a cool concept. And even though I value fitness to a certain degree, like I don't value it to the point where like I'm not a huge gym person and all those other things. Like I just and for me, it just ticked all my personal boxes. It's more like It's more females that go, but it ticked all my boxes, like no ego, no mirrors, like everyone, and you just kind of go do your thing, 30 minutes and you're in and out, you know? And it's fully automated, no instructors, no nothing, right? So, um, oh, you're on mute if you're talking.
Sorry, Kedge, I was just on mute. Is it on a time schedule? Like, do
Yeah, so it's on
you
the hour every hour, like so whatever. So not so
cool.
on the hour every hour, and it's fully automated, no instructors either. So it's all done by screens, as well. And for
Good
me,
on
once
you.
again, some people might. So it's like you go do the workout. Like sometimes you're not feeling the best, and you don't want to do a hardcore workout. And you have the instructor yelling at you. So this, you just do it
Yeah.
your own pace. If you want to have a lazier day, you have a lazier day. If you want to have a thing a day, you have a whatever day. And I know, I just like the concept, but I can also see that it will be great for a lot of other people because even
Mm,
though there's a lot of fitness places out there, 80% of people still don't go to anything. And this kind of targets the people that don't like the traditional gym, don't like instructors yelling at them, find gyms intimidating. So yeah, it's a really cool concept. So opening one, we signed the lease in Wentworth Point, and we're doing another one in
really?
yeah, so
Oh
Lisa's
my.
signed. So the other thing I'm doing is juggling. So like so everyone looks at this stuff and looks easy as well, right? Like so everyone talks about doing these things but never actually executes to it. So there is a lot of like quote unquote like I guess fuckery, like trying to set these things up. So we're going to council, lodging plans, like getting quotes, trades, like all these other things that are involved with it. So at the moment also doing that as well. Also working on another site as well, so near Wollongong, a place called Dapto. So another one as well. So in the process of lease negotiations, and one of the biggest motivators for this is mainly so I'm getting actually so Gaia, my wife, she stepped up and doing a lot of work as part of this as well, and it's to get help her get out of corporate because like I guess she's really enjoying being a mum and doesn't really have the desire like to go back and do a full-time job, 9 to 5, have to put kid in childcare, do all that stuff. So with this, if we get our business running while she's on maternity leave, can get things going and get things running, and she's overseeing it, monitoring it. She's like getting confident, starting to do videos and stuff, which is like and things as part of it. So which is way out of her comfort zone. Doing VIP, like we're doing like early bird membership. So she's doing sales calls to, talk to the clients and stuff. So if we get this up and running, then yeah, it's out of corporate for her and it'll be a more flexible lifestyle. And yeah, just some yeah. So that's doing that as well. So
Dude, thank you for sharing. That's
yeah,
I'm so happy for you.
no, yeah, and happy for at the moment. It's like at the moment, so we're not making any money, right? So it costs roughly about 250 grand ish to all in to set it all up with fit outs, fees, whatever you got to do, roughly 250 grand, right? So doing two of these, so yeah, dumping a lot of cash at the moment that's leaving, like so. But obviously, trust the model, know where it's going, and yeah, know that we'll make it. Obviously, make it back. That's the cost of business. But yeah, I feel like anytime I get ahead in life, I end up like finding ways to all my I'm like asset rich but cash poor. I got no money. But like so find a way to dump it somewhere, but all in the hope of the reward that will come at the end of it. So um and yeah, and doing it in a space which I'm actually like passionate. There's lots of different ways to make money, right? You can if I can open a tobacconist, if I can some of my friends are opening like laundromats and stuff like that and yeah, and they're gonna do well. But for me, I've got to feel some sort of passion for the work as well. Otherwise, because any kind of business has got some level of fuckery involved. So if you don't really care about it enough, you're gonna end up like you're not gonna make it work. Is the truth. So yeah, so this aligned in that space, and so now yeah, just going down that path and pursuing that, but just at the yeah, just at the early stages of it. So hopefully, the Wentworth Point one should launch maybe more likely probably 3 months from now, probably. Yeah.
Dude, you're an animal, man. That's just amazing. That's just amazing. I'm so happy
Oh,
for you, man. That's very thank you for doing it, man. It's very inspiring and it just raises the bar.
no, no, thanks, man. Yeah, sometimes I question it, as in like so I'm at the place not that I'm questioning it, but just like I know it'll be good, but just at the moment it's like a lot on the plate. So, but yeah, Guy has been amazing, and like yeah, all the sales stuff that I've dealt with, people not answering the phone, people rejecting you, people doing that stuff, not understanding. She's like going through it now for the first time, and and bless her, she's doing amazing, but just like but really throws her off. She gets that one negative call and she's like ruined. And I remember when we first started doing this stuff, and so just like working with her, but she's like, for clients that aren't engaging, she's like filming herself and sending a video and, trying to increase the contact rate and all those kinds of things, and going to start doing our own content for Instagram and stuff. So really stepping out of her comfort zone, and she's stepping up. So which is anyone that knows her, like, this is so not her space. So she's really, but she knows the cost of going back to corporate, so willing to, do the work to make this work as well. So
Dude, that's just so inspiring, man. That's so inspiring. I'd love to ask you some questions about that I think might help people.
yeah, please.
Bro, I really mean this is a very sincere question. The
Yeah.
question is, bro, how are you so motivated? For like, just so you know, right? And the
Mm.
reason I'm asking this question is because like I feel like there's definitely people like listening to this who are just like, um, just I don't know, man. Like, presumably most people who are listening to this are working in jobs.
Sure.
And so they're like, man, like I've always wanted. So many people say that, right? They've always wanted to start a business, but
Mm.
they didn't do it. And
Mm.
dude, you have demonstrated even before we met. You had another. I remember you had a cafe. I haven't forgotten about it.
Mm.
Dude, how? Like, I guess my question is like, how are you so motivated? How do you have the balls to do this shit? Like,
Yeah, okay, that was one at a time. So the motivations, I guess, even speaking specifically about what we're doing here, is like, honestly, like, I think a lot of people talk about building their dream life and whatever it is, but I genuinely, like, for me, like, and speaking to Gaia, and obviously after having Kyra, or even before we had her, like, these conversations, like, how we want our life to look like. But it's not going to happen if we just, I don't know, whatever. It's just not going to happen if we don't do something about it, right? Just go down the path that we're going down. So how do we kind of create that life? And so I guess the thought was already like, it's in the back of our heads of, we need to do something. And so I guess the eyes are already kind of semi open. And then I guess this was by chance. It wasn't like I wasn't specifically looking to open a fitness franchise of any nature, but I started going to one, started to make sense. And then, yeah, then went full force. But I guess the motivation part is like, what's the life that we want to live? And I really want to make sure that becomes a reality rather than just like sitting there talking about it. Um, and I think I just attached to that. I would love the idea for like Cairo to be raised in an environment where we can be around more, present more, like, and yeah, I think that's about. I guess I just feel it to a stronger degree. Maybe I don't know. I think a lot of people would have a similar motivation. I'm sure if you ask them. What's the gap between that and action? I don't know. Like for me, just there is like I need to find a way. Not gonna accept that just going to skate through life and whatever. So for me, I got to find a way. And yeah, man, I don't know, because I feel like even as I'm saying it, I feel like a lot of other people's motivations would be not too dissimilar. So I don't know the difference.
well, maybe that's because, bro, we both know so many people have these dreams of having a business. But can I be honest, man? Even, I mean, I have a theory on how you've done this,
Sure.
but I'd love to hear from you. Like for me, even you're basically dropping quarter of a mil to half a mil. You're gambling like quarter of a mil to half a mil. It could be argued
Sure.
because because people go, oh fuck, what if it doesn't work or whatever, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah.
So I'd love to know like how do you have the balls to do this?
Yeah. Well,
There's surely a few layers.
yeah, I guess it's not just, I guess, yeah, element is balls, like in the sense that sometimes you do have to bite the bullet and have a bit of faith. Like that is part of it. But the other part of it is also like studying it, like looking at the model, like, cool, how do we, even for this one, okay, cool, it's going to cost us this much. And I guess line by line, what's the studio fit out? What's the cost of a staff member? What's the cost of the leads? What's the cost of, okay, cool, that's all that. All right, how many members does it take to launch this successfully? Okay, study and then okay, cool. Let's go look at all the other locations. What have they done? And so go find, did a bit of research, spoke to a lot of the other owners of these other franchises and what they've done, what worked, what hasn't worked, and ultimately, yeah, just I guess balancing out the risk and the reward and doing a business like not a crazy business plan, but just like cool, like is this realistic? And from the numbers that we're doing and speaking to, and this is a franchise, so we've got the support from the franchise, meeting them, got a good vibe from them and the support. And it just makes sense. Like, so it's not, so there was also definitely a lot of like analysis that went into it too, but also an element like people can go by element of cool. That's like, it just makes sense. Let's go execute, you know? And I felt like if you just execute to the basics of this, I genuinely can't see how you can go wrong with it. And just to put it into context, right? So I'll just give you some numbers here. If you launch with like, you're pretty much breaking even if you launch with 80 members. If you get to 200 members, you're looking at a net profit, like after operating expenses, of about 250 to 270K a year, right? Not crazy numbers, but good numbers, right? Um,
Well,
and so
that covers off your initial investment.
initial
That's why I
investment
think
and
you said
everything
it.
else is
Yeah.
just like you're making that as, and you know, so if you're making your money back in 1 year in business, you know, that's great. And then like it's, yeah, all profit thereafter. And to put into context, that's what, for example, like the guys in, so I said launch with 200, you do that number. The guys in Balambi launched with 220 members. The Wollongong guys recently launched with 280 members. A couple of the guys I spoke, there's a couple that haven't worked out. There's one in Chatswood that hasn't done so well, but Borkham Hills launched with like almost 200 members. And there was a method to it. And so seeing, and I'm meeting some of these people and like they're great, but I can see there's nothing special about them as well, right? They've just taken the bullet and done it. And a lot of them, funnily enough, are similar personalities to Gaia, meaning they're a bit more reserved, they're introverts, like their thing. But it's interesting because that's also the main demographic that this is targeting. So you're almost connecting like-minded people like together, because these are people that are scared to go to the traditional gyms. They find it intimidating. They find these Pilates girls and stuff like, so in, you know, it's not their thing. And as much as it's, those kind of people will still come, but that's not the main target for this, right? So and I'm meeting these people and they're doing these successful launches and this is how it works. I'm like, ah, there's no way that we can't make this work. And so yeah, combination of both. And even being honest, like even, yeah, there's cash, but I've actually taken out a business loan as well. So it's not just physical cash. I'm taking loans out to do this. But yeah, I've got no doubt that this is going to work. And yeah, we've already, like, as in, we've only been like getting our leads for the first week. We've signed up 10 members already, like, you know, so VIP
So
memberships.
so you sign them up, but they can't go to the gym yet. It's not open, right?
Yeah, so it's like a VIP, like there's a playbook to launch. So that, remember I was saying these guys launch with that many members. There's like a 3 month build up. So of like we got like certain pricing. So there's for the early bird. So the goal is the first 50 will get a certain price. So at least we know we're going to make our money back, and then we'll kind of elevate it. And yeah, but it's just like, yeah, making calls, coming soon. We're putting flyers out. We're going to start doing that next week. We're posting in the local Facebook groups that we're coming soon and that kind of stuff. And then they now started spending some money on marketing as well to attract, just through the local area there. And
And to sell them, like once they're responding with the expression of interest or whatever,
yeah,
then you can call them or whatever and say, right now we're doing this early bird pricing because the grand opening is in 2 months.
yeah,
But if you're willing to sign on now and put on some kind of deposit or whatever now, just to
yeah,
show that you're committed,
yeah,
we instead of you getting this price, you get this price for the next 12 months. Would you like to do that?
yeah,
Is that
correct.
kind of
And
what it's
yeah,
like?
yeah, correct. And it's like there's no, we're doing, so normally the full price is $59 a week. And when you actually think about it, like infrared environment and a workout, like bro, just a sauna for an hour costs you that much these days. So you actually, it's like best of both worlds, unlimited classes for a week. So early bird pricing we're doing at 39, and then we'll escalate or whatever from there, like depending on the level of members. But yeah, we're doing like 1 week cancellation. So there will be some people, I can't try it or whatever. So it's almost like a free trial when they're first starting, because we're not tying them into anything, but they're just pretty much putting there's no deposit. They're just putting their details down, like the credit card details into a system. And but pretty much from when we launch, $39 a week, and then everyone will come. And the reality is, it's like, it's going to be a super great thing. So a lot of those people will end up staying, but the goal is to get to 200 members by launch. And yeah, after week one, we're at 10. And that was just from like posting in like local community Facebook groups mainly is where that came from. But it's such a cool concept. I'm sure other people are going to catch on. It's the first of its kind in Australia, like that kind of thing. There other people do hot yoga and hot things, but that's just they heat the room up, not through infrared. So yeah, there's already a few. I think there's like 30 or so that's open already around New South Wales. So it's slowly catching on as a thing. And no real competitors yet. So a lot of the people we speak to have already heard about it and things like that. So, but yeah, man,
Dude, that's
that's
just yeah, that's I just think that's fucking magnificent, man.
yeah,
And can I just share a little analysis on what you just said?
yeah, please.
Like, for people listening, I think I think there's actually another factor which maybe Kedge didn't even realize to include. The other factor being this is not the first time Kedge has bought a business. That would be the other thing. So,
Sure.
because can I could I quickly ask you to speak about that before we maybe analyze this and get some gold that maybe people can take into their own life? Like, did you, when you first started, I guess you could say investing in business or buying a business or whatever, what was the first? Because sometimes, like, for someone who's never done anything and they've just dreamed about it, the idea of doing this shit, I think you made it a lot less daunting just then by how you beautifully broke it down.
Mm.
Like, it even is a lot less daunting for me, and I'd love to speak on that in just a moment in terms of how you beautifully broke that down. But I also think the other factor is you didn't start with dropping 250 grand. Like, you probably started somewhere else, or did you? Could you speak to that? Like, where did you start this entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah, I think I've always had some level of interest and definitely had some failed things that have gone on. Like, man, even when I was man, when I was I don't know how old we were. Me and a friend, even when we were 19 or 20, almost opened up a frozen yogurt like franchise. It was called Noggy. We didn't end up doing it, and glad we didn't because it was a thing and it was a fad, and then it just fell off a cliff. So we probably would have lost all our money. But I think there's always been there's been exposure. Like, we're looking at things so as you're getting exposed to it, trying things. You're seeing the mistakes, and then I think the biggest thing for me is like even like cafe and stuff that we've done before, and that was more with my family and stuff because yeah, certain situation, but it was more doing it for the sake of it because you think it's going to make money. And but the biggest learning is like even that frozen yogurt thing, and even the cafe probably didn't care about it at all, really. Like, it was just like, cool, with this, we feel like we can make money from this. But the reality is we didn't really, like, we wouldn't have, and we didn't really. And because we're just like didn't care enough about it, like didn't weren't passionate about it, like everything requires work and energy. And there's some things that will require less. And I'm sure, like, even for example, this gym franchise, like just from the analysis, it's like looking at it, so I'm just coming back to this again, but it's a no trainer model. It's like low touch, can operate in a small space, so the leases aren't very expensive. There's no trainers, but we're still very passionate about it. So we're going to put all of our energy into making it work. Whereas the other stuff, I think that was the biggest thing. And so it's not just about. I don't know if that answers your question, but it was more about, yeah, I think the previous things that were tried to be done was just done because like I need to make a business. I need to a different way to find to make money, but I'm doing it because this is all I know, or I think I know, but it's not because it was, yeah, any other reason, right? So, and I think just time
I'm
in the game and
Yeah.
studying other people and other friends and just learning, and yeah, I think that was what I would say.
Thank you, man. I'm actually very humbled to hear that answer because, like, um, as you know, a big thing that I'm teaching people, and that's just from my own learnings, is you have to do something, like everyone's heard this before. You want to do something that you're passionate about or
Mm.
that you actually genuinely are interested in.
Yeah.
Why? Because as you beautifully said, there's just fuckery either way. There's
Mm.
going to be challenges either way. So what's going to make it a lot easier on you is if you actually really like it and you actually do actually care about it. Because if you actually care about it, in my experience, then like, because I'm well aware that there are, I'd be fucking curious to just hear like what people who are doing businesses that they don't they're not that passionate about.
And
I'd be
yeah, I was gonna say, I think some people probably can. Like, as in, I'm not saying, I'm thinking, like, I know friends, like, for example, that have opened a laundromat, and I can for sure say they're not passionate about a laundromat, right? But they're passionate about business and making money. And, but for me, I know that's not enough for me personally, right? I will just there'll be days where I'm not bothered and not over it, and I don't give a fuck about this laundromat. I'm not going to do the extra things to get excited about it and get the community excited about it. You know what I mean? But some people I know will do the work because they just know the financial outcome and will just hustle and get it done because they
what
care about that.
Yeah, well, I that's my theory as well, Kedge. I think there are some people, specifically billionaires, like people
Yeah,
who, if you want to be a billionaire,
yeah,
you most likely have to have a high value on business in general,
yeah,
on the art of business.
yeah.
You see, I interrupted you, but is that kind of what you
No,
were
no, I
trying to
think
say? I just got
that's good.
excited.
No, it's good interruptions, but no, that's like that's yeah. I won't name his name, but my friend, I got a good friend. He's just good at making money. He'll just find a way to get it done. But I can't do it because it doesn't get me out of bed in the morning, you know. But he will just get out of the bed because it just makes him money, so he'll just fucking do it, you know. And there's people, I'm sure there's people out there like that, but I just don't think the majority of people that we know are like, they think they are, and they're like, oh, if I'm going to get paid this much, I'll do it. But when it comes down to doing it, they're just not going to, they can't find that, it just never happens. And I think that's why, because most people aren't wired that way.
Yeah, man. Like, if I can just speak to that real quick, unless you're going to say something else,
No, that's
Kedge.
the point I was trying to
Like,
make. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, man. Like, for everyone listening, what I have found through my studies and experience and etc., as unique as our fingerprint, we all have a different set of what you can call your highest values, which are, and when I mean values, I don't mean like loyalty and stuff. Like what I'm talking about is like the things that naturally light you up, to use Cage's words, that naturally get you out of bed and naturally make you motivated, it makes you intrinsically motivated. So there are people in the world who genuinely have a high fucking value on wealth building, and if you really want to know the honest signals of what you have a high value in, it's what your life has demonstrated over the last 10, 20 years. Like what has you what before you even knew any of this shit, what did you naturally want to do? I can tell you with me, Kedge, like I remember, bro, I was 8 years old, and my we had like one computer in the classroom. You probably remember those that time. And my teacher, Mr. Vasila, showed me how to invest in the stock market. I remember that at 8 years old, right? And out of all those kids that he showed that to, I'm probably one of the few that actually thought that was dope. Like he was just like, yeah, look, here's all the different companies, and Dim, I'm going to give you $200,000 of play money. You choose, Dim, where you want to put that money, right? And I remember doing it. I remember just tracking it over time and just thinking this is the dopest thing ever, right? Like that is an honest signal of someone who genuinely, clearly you can hear it when I'm speaking, is genuinely excited at the concept of like investing and building wealth. And then by the time I believe I was 22, I believe, or maybe younger, I actually had like 100 grand saved up in my bank, investing, and I invested it into shares. And a lot of people, if your true value is not on wealth building, you would definitely do other shit with that 100 grand, even if it's coming to you. Because if people listening, like, think about your age, think about when you started earning, and think about how much money has actually come into your hands. It's probably been like millions of dollars have actually come through your hands. So the question is, what are you doing with that money? Because that's an illustration of your actual values. Like, because if you truly, truly, truly valued wealth building, even if you're poor, even if you don't have shit, you still find a way, because you still find a way to want to invest $10. Like, you actually do, don't you, kids? Right? I'm sure you've been there as well.
Yeah.
Like, you can't help it. Even if it's only $10, you still want to invest $10, because that's how much, like, you actually value wealth building. So in my experience, there are people who genuinely value relationships, people who genuinely value health, people who genuinely value fitness, nutrition, law, accounting, like everything under the sun. There, and what you want to determine. This is something I do with the boys at the retreat, as Kedge will know, is you actually want to help someone find their intrinsic motivations, which is their highest, deepest, heartfelt values that actually fucking make them lit up. Clear as day, Kedge has a high value for sure on investing, because that's why he fucking wants to buy. He wants to keep buying property. He wants to fucking buy businesses. And he's obviously found out that that's not enough if he's not. Because I think with you, Kedge, you value investing and wealth building clearly, obviously, but I think you clearly value property as well. Like, as in you enjoy property. Is my experience. Like, you're
For
really
sure.
good at talking about it, and
Yeah.
you like talking about it. Yeah. So 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 I think with property investing, it kind of has two values, and so it's quite motivating for you. with just raw investing into businesses that you don't give a fuck about, wealth building is not high enough a value for you to just fucking do that. You need to also have something that is interesting to you. At the very least, like health, like which you mentioned multiple times on this call, even before you talked about this business. So that's values. And for people listening at home who've wanted to start their own business, like what I would say is like one of the beautiful things, like Kedge said, like a bunch of really beautiful points, which I'd like to just reflect for, which hopefully helps people. Number one, it's like knowing your fucking values, knowing what actually lights you up, knowing what makes you happy, and optimizing your goals around those things. And so, for example, if you do still care about building wealth and entrepreneurship and stuff, it's like, okay, well, how can you do it in an area which you're genuinely interested in? That's like one easy point that Kedge said. Another one, to me, was that, yeah, it's not Kedge's first rodeo. Like, he's actually been trying, you can call it trying and failing, or trying and breaking even, or trying and profiting for a long time. So you don't have to start off with a 250 grand investment, like, and then the third thing I'd say is, if you listen to Kedge, it's not this big chunky, in NLP it's called chunking down. So basically it's not this big generalized scary thing, oh, I dropped 250 grand to buy this business. If you actually listen to what he said, he was breaking down all the different factors. So it's not this vague financial thing. It's actually going, okay, this is how many clients you need in order to break even. This is how you can get those clients. This is actually, like, percentage wise what you need to do step by step to get those people in the door. So now you can break even. And this, if you can get this, you can break even. If you get this, you're actually making this much money. Now, how can you get this? And he broke it all down. And then he also spoke about the proof of concept has been tried and tested before, like in other areas. And then he's also analyzed where it's worked and where it didn't, and then the factors that make it work. And so there was, it's so much breaking down from that initial scary thing into all of the subcomponents. And then you realize actually what you can control, which I think really, for me personally, makes me fucking pretty motivated, because I'm like, fuck, this sounds like a great idea to me. And I actually really love fitness. So, anyway, that's my analysis. Sorry? I'm in. Bruv. I'm in, bruv. But maybe one day I'd love to have my own gym. I've thought about that many times. So anyway, wow. Well, that's perfect marketing. For sure. Oh, suddenly I'm interested. Just joking. That's magnificent, man. Bro, I know we're at time, so we probably should get to the doing the outro. But honestly, man, like I'm glad that we, just from the heart, like I'm glad that we just jumped back on and even though we didn't have anything planned today, like yeah, it's good to be back. Good to be doing this with you, man. And good to be with you, bro. And man, like on the stress real quick, like man, can I just quickly end with this little story? Man, I remember this like real powerful episode of Scrubs. Did you ever watch Scrubs, Catch? Yeah, yeah. So if anyone who doesn't know, it's a show about medical staff in a hospital. It's kind of a comedy and stuff. Anyway, there's this episode where Dr. Cox, for anyone who remembers, who's the big bad scary doctor, who's senior and everyone's intimidated by him. There's this episode where he basically um accidentally he has three patients and all three patients look like they're going to make it, but then he makes some kind of decision that fucks things up, and I believe they all get an infection and then they all die. And then he ends up like super depressed, and he ends up just going into his room and doesn't come to work, and he's just drunk and just drinking and in this really low place. And he's almost like catatonic is the word. Basically, people are coming to visit him just for moral support, and he's like just like a zombie. And then eventually, at the very end of the episode, JD, who's the main character, comes in, who's basically the mentee, and he's always scared of Dr. Cox. And he comes in, and JD says this very beautiful message. He goes, you know, I told myself the reason I didn't come until now. So it's making me a bit emotional even saying this story because it's nice. But JD goes, man, I told myself that the reason I didn't come in to see you, I know it's been a little while, I haven't come in to see you all this time. The reason I didn't come in to see you, I told myself was because you were drinking a lot. But that's not the truth. The the reason I didn't come in to see you is because I was scared. I was scared because I didn't want to see my hero fallen and being vulnerable, and didn't want to see him weak. But that's okay. I really just came to tell you how proud I am of you. And Dr. Cox is like listening for the first time. And he goes, I'm proud of you because after 25 years of being a doctor, when things go wrong, you still take it this hard. And I got to tell you, man, that's the kind of doctor I want to be. You know? And yeah, man. And even before my retreat, bro, I was definitely very stressed. And it was one of my own staff members that said to me, Dim, like, thank God you still care, And, I had moments during the retreat where I, like, still teared up with things. And I just thought, thank God that after all this time and after all this shit that I've seen, like, still, yeah, it's still care, man. And so if you're stressed out, it's not a bad thing. And you, bro. And you, bro. All right. Ken, do you want to do the outro? Mhm. Cooked. Yeah. Yeah. No, well, till next time on Namaste, Rich. Great to be with you, boy, with everyone. And we'll see you next week. See ya.